to Liquid Courage, the podcast where I, Amanda Pereira, sit down with a fellow artist that I admire and ask them the questions I've never had the guts to ask them before. Sounds scary? Yeah, it really is. So I use a little liquid courage in the form of my guest's favorite drink. We cheers, chat, and connect as I attempt to soak up all the wisdom they have to offer. Today I sit down with Aden Abebe and we sip on some Chianti red wine. Aden is a multi-disciplinary storyteller and artist. She is committed to telling stories that empower, inspire empathy, and meet at the intersection of art and social justice. She is the creator, writer, and producer behind the new digital series Virgins, now available to watch on CBC Gem. Virgins is a dramatic comedy set in Toronto that follows the lives of four 20-something-year-old women straddling two cultural spheres, navigating adulthood, work, family, love, and relationships as virgins, all the while feeling too modest for the big city of Toronto and too provocative for the East African homes they come from. Aden and I do a pretty good job of not giving away any spoilers of the show while we chat, but I definitely suggest checking out the series beforehand so you really get the most out of our conversation together. Aden is also the founder of ART+HEALTH, a community-based not-for-profit focused on bridging the gap of mental health education, support, and resources to the Ethiopian and Eritrean community in Toronto. So Aden is an artist, a writer, a showrunner, a producer, the creator of CBC's Virgins, and someone I admire immensely. Hi, Aden.
Hi, Amanda.
It's such a weird way to start. I do it every time, and then I always think, why am I doing this? We were just getting all set up. Why am I now saying hi? It's like a weird, nervous, I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
Well, to calm the nerves, let's just do a little cheers with our wine right off the top. Let's just do it. Cheers,
I love
Aden.
this.
Me too. It's so nice. Oh my goodness. And we kind of match a little bit. We're kind of wearing like
The lip.
the lip and the button down, like different colors, but like
True.
very cute.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
I love it too. Okay, so Aden, we have never met before this evening. I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan of your show, like of your work. I'm truly inspired and also like in awe, and I'm going to get into it cuz upon researching you, I'm like, I'm sorry, what? There were so many things I want to ask you about. So, okay, so first of all, the show Virgins. Oh, first of all, congratulations. It's so good. Congratulations. Like what a feat to get this show, like get any show made, and then to get a good show made. It's like a whole other accomplishment. Okay, so I just want to start off, what like compelled you to make this series?
What compelled me to make this series is I had this idea, and I feel like as an artist, you know what is just like a fleeting idea, like what's a good idea and what's like what you're meant to do. Like you're meant to make this come hell or high water, like you have to make this.
Yeah.
And so when the idea for the show came, it ended up feeling like that.
Yeah.
Um, it kind of started unassumingly. I didn't realize it was gonna become what I had become. I didn't have the vision for it, though, for it to be here. But yeah, I'm pretty determined, and I'm pretty single-minded when I want to do something. I believe in doing it to the end and doing your absolute best, and I definitely did my best with this project, especially based on like where I am in my career and with like what I know. And I'm just I'm also really excited. So
Yeah, you should be so excited. Well, and I know that this series started out as a web series, and then so I'm wondering, like, when you made the web series, when you went into it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because this is some of my research, maybe some people were incorrect with this, but when you went into the web series, you were coming in without experience in film and in writing. Is that right? Oh my God, Aden. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mind blown. Okay, so many questions. Okay, so what surprised you about like the process of writing a show and filmmaking in general when you like got into it? What was a surprise to you?
Um, That's a great question.
Thanks, Aiden.
If it,
So nice of you. That makes You're like already making me feel so good. Like before we started recording, I'm just like, oh, hi, let's be friends. Okay, sorry. What surprised you about it?
what surprised me? I mean, every step, everything was brand new to me, so everything was a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when I had the concept, my medium for art at the time was photography, and it was
Mm,
only photography. So I assumed that this was going to be like a photo series. And then the more I was thinking it through, I was like, okay, no, this is bigger than just photos. This is like moving.
mm,
Okay, so if it's moving, that means it's a video. Oh my God, I've never done video. How am I going to make a video? And then I come to terms with like, okay, I guess I'll learn how to make like some kind of moving picture video installation. And then once I got okay with that idea, I realized no, there is dialogue. This moving picture requires dialogue.
mm.
This is like a movie or like a movie. And I was like, oh crap. Now,
Oh crap.
yeah, because like as scary as, making a video, like a moving picture can be, at least because I had the background in photography, I had a lot of the language,
Mm,
to kind of be able to it just seemed like a proper evolution, like a next step, you know?
mhm,
But writing it's a whole different medium,
mm,
and one that I was always really insecure about and always dreamed of like wanting to be a really good writer. And
mm.
so it was something I just kind of already had a chip on my shoulder before I even entered in. And yeah, it took a long time for me to like get really confident in writing and screenwriting in particular. But yeah, once I got over that, um, then there were a bunch of other surprises like, oh yeah, this
Yeah.
costs money. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought we were just gonna film it on like a DSLR, like Canon 7D camera. I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, 7D, this is a big deal.
I know when
We'll
you said
get two
70, I was like,
7Ds,
wow, that number's high. I think I've only ever
right?
used like a 5D, a 70. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
A 5D is an exceptional camera. This is a really great camera.
Thanks, Aiden.
Um, but I was like, oh my God, this is fancy. We're going to be using these cameras. And then when I like, was getting my crew together, they're like, we're getting professional grade film photography, like film camera. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm like,
So then I had to learn how to get that and how to, all the jobs of producing that I didn't know I
mm-hmm.
was doing. Um, so yeah, it's hard to distinguish like one thing because it has been nonstop surprises and a constant learning curve. Everything has
Yeah.
been a learning curve. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet also like, and I really feel like so many artists find themselves in this position as well, where you're creating something and you might feel like, okay, everything is a surprise and I'm learning all of these new things. And like, okay, I thought it was going to be a Canon 7, you know what I mean? Like, but then also you're the showrunner. Like you're also the top of you're in charge. So what was that like feeling like, oh my God, this is the first time and maybe I don't know the things I should know, but also I'm in charge here. How did you approach that?
I loved it.
Mm.
I mean, who doesn't like being in charge, right?
Oh, I love that answer. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it was my creative baby, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I didn't think that anybody else would really understand the lens with which I'm seeing this world and
Mhm.
my imagination on how to tell the story. I've
Mm.
never seen it done before. And so I was really confident that this had to be run by me, and
Mhm.
I was very grateful that our friends at CBC believed in me and supported me to be able to do that. Um, yeah, you know what? I think what I had an advantage I had was not realizing what a big deal each thing I was doing was. So
Mm.
yeah, like I just I came from a background where like you just do it yourself. You just learn, you figure it out as you go. And it was very scrappy. I was always very resourceful. And so I took the same approach to this. And it wasn't until I met people down the road that they're like, wow, like you just started. And, you know, a lot of these other people have gone to school and then like have PA'd and like gone up the ranks, and you're like in the same room as them. And I was like, oh, I didn't look at it that way. You know, I just was like, oh, I had this idea I was going to make it. And
Yeah.
um, I didn't realize to the degree like how big of a deal each opportunity um, appeared to like other people.
Mhm.
I'm so grateful and I'm so excited for the opportunity to make my story and make my art, but that was to the extent of like the gravitas it held for me.
Mhm.
I didn't look at it from the lens of like, do you know how many people like pitch and dream and hope, you know, that they could make their show? Like I didn't look at it from that lens. And I think
Mhm.
had I would have been a lot more nervous and scared and felt a lot more pressure.
Mm.
But I I didn't look at
Mhm.
it that way.
Yeah. I think it's so like I think it's such a nice reminder also when you were saying like, okay, well maybe this is an art installation. Okay, maybe this is a moving picture. Maybe this like you were coming from a place that you knew this needed to be a series and it was a natural progression rather than I want to make a series, here's an idea. You let the idea naturally be what it needed to be. And I bet you there's a lot of just like inner deep confidence that comes with that because there's not a questioning should this be a series or not. It's like, no, that's what this story needs to be right now. I think that's yeah, I'm inspired by that because I think often I'll think, I want to make a blank. The story comes second, then I figure out the story. But I think letting the story lead, it's like on Project Runway where they say, like, let the material be what it wants to be, rather than I want to make a dress, I'll
Yes,
find the material. I think that's such an amazing reminder for artists to let things naturally progress that way.
absolutely. Because I believe that as artists, we are inherently multidisciplinary.
Hmm.
And it took a while for me to make that distinction, to stop calling myself or referring to myself as a photographer and just to refer to myself as an artist.
Mm,
And it was deviating into this new sphere, into this new art form that made me realize, it doesn't matter what the medium is. I'm not a medium based artist. I'm an artist. I
mhm,
have a story to tell, and the story will find it the right vessel, and the right
mm,
medium. And it's just my job to honor that and do the best I can, um, to to just honor that seed. So
mm,
my that's how I approach things.
mhm. Oh, Aiden, I'm just absorbing so much. Well, just I find often too, like, you know, I find often when I'm like, oh, I'm a multi-hyphened artist, like I'm an actor and writer and producer. Sometimes it feels like it dilutes each one of them or almost feels like whatever that saying is where you're like mediocre at all of them, but you're not amazing at any one of them, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Um but to remember, like, no, you're an artist. It encompasses all of them. Like doing more than one doesn't make each one of them less valuable. Like, yeah, I think that's amazing to just as again a reminder. Oh my God, so many reminders. Aiden, so helpful. I already love this. I'm curious, like how much the four lead characters, how much did they evolve from the web series to the series that we see now on CBC? Did they change for you in the growing of the series?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, they stay pretty much the same.
Mhm.
I really I was really clear on the archetypes of each girl, and I just wanted to like see it through.
Mhm.
And so yeah, they stayed the same. We have different performers, and yeah, I mean, we were so lucky to have the performers that and the actors that were available for us in our web series days. And
Mhm.
now, when we're on CBC, I mean, so many people have moved on to other things. And so this was an opportunity for new performers to get their feet wet. And I'm just really excited and really proud that the show, because of its very cultural specificity, has
Mhm.
created opportunities for a lot of actors who wouldn't usually get cast or get
Mhm.
the opportunity to see themselves accurately described or
Mm.
their identities specifically sought after.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. And
hypermelanated.
Well, and who also, like, are all talented enough to get the roles, but aren't getting the roles. Like, they're all so fabulous. And I have to say, so I obviously binged the series and the CBC series, and then in research I was like, "Oh, I wanna go back and watch some of the web series too, like, whatever's available." And even as an audience member, I was like, "Wait, that's Abby? Wait, I know Abby. I know a different not just the actor. I just mean, like, the actor." So I
Yeah.
wonder, it made me wonder for you, like, in the casting process when you were going into adapting this into, like, a longer series, was it hard to cast those roles? Did you have the actors from the web series in your mind and you kinda had to, like, get that portrayal out? Like, it was hard for me. I felt so in love with the 4 leads in the series that
Yeah.
I so did you find that hard in the casting process?
Um, I didn't.
That's
I
great.
didn't because I
Yeah.
already had an imagination of them before I casted the
Mhm.
first four.
Mm.
And so it was more of the essence, like who could really capture and um radiate the essence of the character was what I
Mm.
was seeking. And if by any chance there's a resemblance between all the characters, well then like yes. But that wasn't the intention. If
Mhm.
any, I think this time around we were really fortunate because one thing with Abby
Yeah.
um, is that she is, you know, of all the characters, the most like me.
Mm.
And and I wanted to have a main character who was like fuller bodied because I'm, you know, a fuller bodied curvy woman. And, you know, both times around, it just so happened that the actors that we got were really gorgeous, more lean uh, body types. And you know, the best performer wins. So we're not
Yeah.
casting based on your body.
Mhm.
But an added bonus this time around was that our cast has a lot more body diversity. And
Mm.
that's important for me to showcase
Mhm.
beauty in all of its forms, and also showcase that the curvy girl can also be a lead, can also be a
Mm.
main character, and
Mhm.
not just like the friend of. Um,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The lead, the romantic lead, have romantic storylines, like, absolutely, that they get to have play with all the crayons. All of the characters should be able to play with all the crayons, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the casting process in general like for you? Like, I love the casting process, whether I'm, like, behind the table or auditioning, like, I just find it so fascinating, and I'm just wondering, going into this with a project that's so personal to you and some things being new to you, like, what was the casting process like?
Yeah, it was a fun challenge.
Mm.
I found two of our very like main actors on Instagram. The first one is Nasra, who plays Amina. I found
Yeah.
them on Instagram like in circa 2017. And I was like, this is Amina come to life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is the real Amina, like just
Wow.
living their life, and this is actually Amina in real life. And I DM'd them and I asked them if they happen to be an actor. They're like, actually, I am. I studied it in university, and I'm an artist. I do this, I do this, I do this. And they're huge in Edmonton, so they live in Edmonton. They started this arts festival. They were the poet laureate over there. Like they're a big deal. And I say they because their pronouns are they, them.
Mm.
They're non-binary, Nasra. So, anyways, from 2017, I've had my eye on them in
Yeah.
particular to play Amina. And
Wow.
yeah, we tried to make it work the first time around, and you
Mhm.
know, we had $0 in our bank account to make
Yeah.
it, and
To for out of
we
province? Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, if only we could buy them a ticket. But
Yeah.
this time around, thanks to CBC,
Thank you,
we were able
CBC.
we were able to make that happen, and give the role to the best suited
Oh,
actor.
they nailed Amina. Like, I can't, well, again, I mean, I don't know. I fell in love a little bit, so I can't imagine anybody else's Amina. Also, the actor who did Amina in the web series is wonderful too. It's
Yeah,
unfair because I've watched the whole series of these characters. So the
yeah.
other actors are fabulous as well, of course.
It's
And how did you go about choosing your 4 directors?
a great question. I I really wanted to have a woman-led set, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted as much as possible to have East African women involved in the creation of the show. And so with Lou Asfaha, she is of Eritrean descent,
Mm.
and a fantastic director. She actually edited those first web series, a few of them.
Ah.
Yeah, so she's been with us for a while. Our relationship started back in 2018, working together, and she was a story editor for a couple episodes as well. Um, yeah, so all in all, I've been able to see her work over time, and we
Mm.
developed a friendship, and it just made so much sense
Mm-hmm.
to invite her to direct, and she was ecstatic, which was
Ah.
great. Um, and then with Jackie,
Mm-hmm.
um, she's of Rwandan descent, also East African. Not one of the countries represented in the show just yet,
Mm.
but we will expand the world.
Yep,
Just
just
keep in
yet.
mind.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on, we'll get more seasons. Yeah.
And I met her through this amazing program called Black Women Film,
Mm.
led by Ella Cooper,
Mm.
and we were in the same cohort together. I knew she was a director. I knew that she was also a writer, and I knew she had kind of this like funny sensibility, like this interesting sense of comedy. And a friend of mine recommended her, a mutual friend of ours, and I was like, okay, well, I know her, and I'm getting this recommendation from her, and let me check out her stuff a
Mm.
bit more. And thank God, because I mean, her episodes are just, I mean, all directors' episodes are gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they each have something different that I love so much about
Yeah.
them. Yeah, so she was excellent. And then our other two directors, we have Reem Morsi of Egyptian descent,
Mm.
who also used to work in Sudan, which was a nice added touch.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then we also have Sam McAdams. And Sam is actually a comedy editor. So she's the only editor who
Mm.
actually specializes in directing and also cutting comedy. I was like, oh
Mm.
my God, this is
Bring
a
her on.
dream.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I was like, if only we could have someone with that level of expertise
Yeah.
starting off. I
Yeah.
mean, our show will be it'll just gonna skyrocket. It's
Yeah.
gonna hit.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
especially getting her in on like one of the episodes she directed, like directing the pilot episode, I think is so smart then of it being like, okay, comedy hit it because that's going to be infused. Also, even
Yes.
just maybe, I don't know if this was on purpose or subconscious or something, but doing like her directing like the first episode and then third and then nine, like you're kind of peppering, like, look, we're going to bring the comedy each, like we're going to emphasize the comedy.
Yeah.
Although not to say the other directors didn't bring out comedy too, because it was definitely in all the episodes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say you're absolutely right about that. And Sam
Mm.
is so talented. She's such a trooper. Like we gave her the episodes that she directed had the most amount of pages,
Mm.
and not any additional time.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah, you're like, Sam, you can do this. We're with
she
you.
really
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park. Like, yeah, if for any producer listening, you'll understand how
Mm.
precious and special that is. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
she always had an amazing attitude. She was just such a gem, like so great to be around.
Mm.
And then with Reem, I should add, so
Mm.
Reem's background, the films that I was able to review, were super moody and super
Mm.
dramatic. And I was like, as much as this is a comedy, there's a lot of dramatic elements in this show.
Mhm.
So it just made perfect sense to have her direct like the more heavy episodes, the heavier
Mm.
moments, like when Sarah is introducing Ash to the father,
Mm. Ooh, I just got
like the
chills.
weight of that.
Yeah.
Whoa. Like, and
Ah,
she
I was
knows
so
it.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, and she's
Yeah.
also a Muslim woman, so she
Mm.
understands the weight of what that means to
Mm.
introduce the man you're seeing to your
Mm.
family. And so she just brought so much knowledge, cultural knowledge and
Mm.
reverence to it. And she also directed episode 10, which is mwah, mwah. I just
Ah.
love episode
Yeah.
10. Our finale is so good.
It's so good. It's so good. And
Yeah.
yeah. It's amazing to me too that to have like four directors and that most of them aren't directing consecutive episodes. Like except for Lou, everybody else doesn't have consecutive episodes. But the fact that overall the show is so consistent in its tone and in its like DNA. I have to just believe, because you also have different writers of different episodes. Like I have to just believe that that's kudos to you as a showrunner of really keeping like the DNA and the vision of this show consistent throughout all the episodes. I think that's an incredible accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. That we appreciate that. It was
Yeah.
definitely a team effort. We made sure to have like a unified kind of like storyboard before
Mm.
we engaged everybody, and
Mhm.
there were several meetings to make sure that we were all on the same page of, what needs to stay consistent and where can you
Mhm.
kind of have fun.
Mhm.
And the directors definitely like put their own different twists on certain things, but of
Uh,
course, like you said, there were a lot of things that were consistent that made it feel cohesive.
yeah.
And that's, I mean, we created the structure, but they implemented it. And
Hmm.
so yeah, kudos to them. We had a great
Kudos.
team. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it looks like it. It sounds like it. Now the show coming out and the reaction to the show, I'm curious, like, so of course, like we've been discussing, so much of the show explores cultural and like familial expectations. And now that the series is out and available to watch, what was your family's reaction to the show? Or have they seen it? Or were you nervous for certain people in your real life to watch it?
So my family's reaction was like pretty ecstatic. My
Oh.
mom, my mom couldn't believe it was real.
Mm.
This is just so outside of the realm of possibility of what she could ever imagine would be possible to have a show like and have CBC's logo on it. And it's just like, this is all too much. And
Oh.
so it was really touching to see her eyes twinkle at
Mm.
like, wow, this is possible. You did it. Like you did something that's impossible.
Yeah.
Um, so that was really, really special. And the reception I've gotten has been a lot of like joy and a lot of celebration. And thank you for portraying such intelligent women who are living
Mhm.
really interesting lives and like full human beings. And this is just so excellent. And I'm like, oh, phew, thank God, because it was made with
Oh,
so much love and care and thoughtfulness.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm just glad it was felt.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so yeah, I'm so glad that that's been the reception for you. And like it's interesting that I'm realizing what my thought right now might be too meta. So tell me, be like, "Amanda, this is too I don't know. This is no." But okay, so in the show, this might be clunky, Aiden. I'm going to try and figure out how to
Okay.
say this. Okay. So in the show, you bring up like through the show you bring up this like inner conflict of wanting to have the space to figure out who you are as an adult, like who the hell am I, who the hell am I, what do I want, and met with this obstacle of always feeling like you're being watched constantly by whether it's like family members or members of the community. There's even like a gif of like made from the show of like when who was
Like the
outside
auntie.
peering? Yes, the auntie, like, taking
Yeah.
pictures outside. Yes. So trying to figure out who you are, not having the space to do that because you always feel like you're being watched. And I think, like, as artists, there's many through our art, we can work those things out. Like, through writing, you can work out those things and trying to make sense of those personal conflicts within ourselves. And so I guess what's ironic to me is that you're exploring and working out all of these things through this show where ultimately the goal is that everybody will see it. Like you're working through things
Yeah.
that everyone will see. So I'm wondering like what was the experience like creating this show, exploring all of these things that you're already trying to do in your real life but you just feel a bit like claustrophobic like everyone's watching, all the while knowing that all these storylines, all these characters, they're all going to be seen by the people in your life and community and friends, family, all those people. And maybe everyone's wondering which of these are traced back to Aiden's life because Aiden's the creator. Like, what were you ever like? We can't put that in there. People will assume that's me. No, we need to put that in there. Never mind. My mom's gonna see this, whatever. Like, what was that experience like? I'm sorry if that was the longest question. I wasn't quite, it feels a little meta, but like, what was that like? Were you ever like, nope, take out that storyline? No, we have to tell this storyline. What if people think this is me? I need people to
Yeah.
know this, but I don't want anyone to see it. Like, what was that like for you?
Okay, there's so much.
I
There's
know, I know, I'm so sorry. That was like, God, was that a fucking monologue over here? Like, how do I
No, I
say this
loved
thought?
it. There's
Okay,
just
thanks.
where should I start?
Yeah.
Um, so fortunately for me,
Mm,
the only way I was able to write the show was to be like out of to feel like I've so far left that state in my life,
mm,
that place in my life. And
mhm,
so I don't feel like I'm being watched anymore. I don't
mm.
feel that. And I think a long time, like our community kind of like wrote me off as like the wild child.
Right, right,
Not
right.
because I was like wild in the typical ways, but more like, oh, she's the feminist. Oh, she's just
Right.
like
She's the
rah rah
artist.
black rights, like
Yeah.
she's just everything is like a big deal. And so I think I think in
Ah,
that way I've kind of been able to skirt a lot
mhm.
of attention,
Yeah, yeah,
at least in my imagination. That's how I
yeah.
perceive things. But the reason why I wrote this world and I wrote this story was because when I was going through it, I felt so alone. I
Mm,
felt like I was the only one who was imperfect.
mm,
And I I think our community does such a good job of putting on this front of like, oh, we don't do this and we don't do that. Other people might behave that way. Other people might go through these types of things, but
mm,
that's scandalous for us.
mm,
And we would never, you'd never see us, you'd never catch us here. Um, and so when I was going through regular, like growing up
mm,
situations, finding your just like coming of age moments in your life, and it didn't work out, I just didn't know who to turn to, who to talk
mm,
to. I looked at my friend on my left, on my right, and they just had this like perfect persona, and I felt like, okay, well maybe there's something wrong with me. And then it's just like makes you feel inferior. It was
mhm,
just, it wasn't a fun place.
mm.
And and then as I got older, I realized they're all liars. You
Yeah,
lied. I was crying and you could have helped me.
yeah.
And I was mad. And I was like, I need I need the show so that the next girl knows that
Mm,
she's not alone. And she has
mm,
some visual aid and some at least characters who could be her friend in her head,
mm.
to turn to. And so that was my story.
Yeah. So important. Like, it's again, like, such a good reminder, like, everyone is there. God, we're just all feeding into each other's. Like, everyone is trying to seem like they're everything's okay and they have it together only because they think the next person beside them, but the next person beside them's just doing it because the other person's doing it. And everyone's just we can just all say we're a mess sometimes, we're falling apart sometimes, we're also very capable and very talented, and we're also a mess. Like, we could be
Yeah.
all the things. That's I love that about your characters, that they are all the things. Like, I think that it's easy when you watch a show where there is an ensemble like leads to start thinking like, okay, she's the smart one, therefore there's going to be a dumb one. Like, kind of just reducing them down to 2D caricatures. And what I loved about your four leads is that they are very clearly different from one another. Absolutely. You also really believe that they're friends, because that's sometimes you make the characters really different and then I'm like, they're only friends because the show needs them to be friends. They were clearly friends. They clearly have things in common that go past culture, that go past family, like, that are just to the core of the essence of who they are. And they're also all like very nuanced, and there's all like so like a million different little things about them. I loved that. And I think in your goal of like, I want somebody who was like you growing up to be looking at feeling alone, to be looking at this not feeling alone. I think you really just like, I don't know, I feel like you nailed it, because it's hard when you feel alone to look on a TV screen and find a 2D character and be like, oh, that's me. You can't do that. You don't feel like a 2D character. So
Yeah.
being able to see real human beings being represented here who are all really different, who also have this like similarity and this love for each other. Oh, it was so great. I still found myself
You
wanting to
know?
be like, oh my God, maybe I'm the Abby. Like, I still found myself wanting to be like, who, in a very like, I don't know, Cosmopolitan magazine quiz way that I wanted to do it,
I love
BuzzFeed
that. I used to fill
quiz,
out
but
those quizzes too. I was
me
like,
too. What did
yeah.
you love about the quizzes, do you think? Like, why were you loving the quizzes to fill out?
I mean, it was just to like reaffirm my own delusion that I am the main character of every situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, you're like, I am the Abby. Okay, great. Just wanted to
yes,
make sure. I already knew it. I created the show, but I am going to do the BuzzFeed or the Cosmopolitan quiz of who am I on Virgins. I'm Abby.
yeah,
Okay, great, great, great. Just want to make
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Hopefully, like I have the comedic timing of Amina,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, see, that's what you want. You're like, I want the this of Sarah. I want the this of Delina. Like you just want to, yeah, you want to, what is that called? Cherry pick? I don't know. I don't know why I can't
Yeah,
think of any sayings today. Okay,
chicken.
cherry
No,
pick. You
you're
want to cherry
absolutely
pick the
right.
things. Yeah, of all the things. Now,
Yeah.
I know well, I was reading up on why you chose the name Virgins exclamation mark. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you're totally welcome to share. Follow-up question is that I am curious why, maybe there's no reason for this, but I'm curious why a lowercase v and not a capital V.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, I did it while you were drinking wine, and I'm like, I also wanted to stretch out the question, and then I'm like, no, I
no, you're
can't
good. You're
stretch it out. Okay, great.
good. Um, so I put them in lowercase because, well, first of all, the show's named Virgins
Hmm.
because I wanted people to have to say the word and not whisper it.
Yeah.
The exclamation point is made to be said like with power, like put some respect on the name of our show type of
Yes.
level of power. Um, and I mean, the word virgins is like almost like equivalent to like a tampon, you know, when
Hmm.
you're passing a tampon to somebody, you're like hiding it. It's like something shameful. And
Yeah.
in public, when people are saying the word, they whisper it. They're like, virgins. And it's just a word. It's a state of being that we all experience for a large part of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so that's why I named it Virgins. I wanted to confront people's like discomfort with the state
Mm.
of being, and then
I love
they're
that.
low.
When I found out you said it, because you're like, I want people to have to say it, and there's going to be an exclamation mark. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to meet Aiden. I loved that. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
then it's in lowercase because they all feel really young. Like they might be in their mid
Mm.
20s, but in this area of their life, they feel like babies. They feel like,
Mm.
adolescents, like 15-year-olds. And that's how I felt when, you know, I was in this stage of the story. I felt like, wow, I'm a whole 25, but on the
Mm.
inside, you know, a guy touches my hand and I'm like giddy on the inside, like a 15-year-old. Like I have so much to catch up on. Um,
Oh,
it's
I
true.
love that. Yeah.
So the goal is that, as they develop internally, then maybe the letters will grow with them.
Oh my God. Maybe there's like a 10-year, maybe like eventually there's like a 10-year in the future, like not reboot, like a continuation when they're older. And then it's a capital V Virgin, still with the exclamation mark, but
Well,
it's
what if
like
they're not
catching
virgins
up.
anymore?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then maybe then they don't need, maybe it's just a capital V with an exclamation mark and the V is standing for something else. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I loved
Mm,
is Jane the Virgin be-
yes.
because she doesn't stay a virgin. And so
Yeah.
they dealt with this really in a fun way. And each
Hmm.
episode would have the word virgin in it,
Mm,
the name of the episode. And so they would literally just like be writing it in. Um,
mm,
so this is an example, not necessarily of on their show, but something that we could do would be like a virgin,
mm.
or um, I don't know, virgin olive oil or something. Maybe the show's about
Yeah.
olive oil or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
virgin coconut oil, or
Yeah.
like I don't, because there's lots to play with about coconut oil.
Yeah.
So
The sky's
it
the
just,
limit. Like, absolutely. See,
yeah,
not just people, so many things have to do
exactly,
with it. Yeah. I
exactly.
loved how like similarly with your show, I loved how both of like your show and Jane the Virgin dealt with virginity. Like I thought it was so smart. I thought, because obviously both shows, Virgin is in the title, and it is like an important theme or concept or idea that you want to talk about. And then also the whole point of it is like, okay, but these people aren't, they can't just be reduced down to being they are virgins. Like, so it's at the forefront while also needing to be shown that it can just be in the background. It's important, but it's not everything. And I think that balance of like when it needs to be in the forefront and then when it needs to be in the background and we show the whole people. I thought, I'm such a big fan of Jane the Virgin as well. And I thought both shows like did that so well. And that's hard to do. It's hard when you're like, I'm not, you know, for the characters, like I'm not just a virgin, but then do you make the whole show only about them being virgins? It's like, can
Yeah,
end up being backwards. So it's a hard balance to find. I love this. I've never said
absolutely.
virgin so many times in like 10 minutes. I'm loving it.
And you said it with an exclamation point. You said it with confidence, and that's what I love to
Absolutely.
hear.
Yeah. Oh, it's rubbing off on me. I guess like in making this show and then also in promoting the show, like I imagine you've had to discuss the topic or idea of virginity a lot or like unpack it for
Hmm.
the show.
Yeah.
And what's like something you've learned about like how our society in general or different groups of our society like view virginity? What have you learned about the idea of virginity or the topic of virginity in like having to discuss it so much? Or is there anything that you're surprised about?
Yeah. I'll say what I'm surprised about is how much people get the show, like they get the
Mm,
story of the show. It wasn't something I expected.
mm,
I expected to have to explain myself
mm,
over and over and over again. But there was a study in 2017 that
mm.
showed that millennials are the most sexless generation in 60 years.
God.
Yeah,
Wow.
on average, having sex for the first time in the US was 25 and in the
Mhm.
UK 26. And yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, my you can see my mouth is agape because when I think of, I'm just thinking like growing up, most of the information that I'm getting about virginity, or I hate the term losing your virginity. I don't know what the hell that means, but do that all everything is from me watching TV, reality TV,
Yeah.
scripted TV, movies. And if I based it on that and you asked me like what is the average age, I would not say that.
Yeah.
So again, lying. We're being lied to. Like that is
Yeah.
wild.
I think it's tricky because, you know, maybe previous generations did have sex earlier. Maybe they were
Mhm.
having sex in high school.
Mm.
But for some reason, this age group, millennials, and the age group of the generation millennials is quite wide. So
Mhm.
I don't I don't know the details of within the age group what had like the highest
Right.
wait time was,
Right. Wait
but
time. Yeah. I love that. Wait time. That's great. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I think it's just a really interesting phenomenon, and I knew culturally that was like a norm.
Mm.
It was I don't know, it's just like, when you come from like a religiously conservative background,
Mhm.
be it like a Christian conservative or Muslim conservative, it's just like a norm. Like you're having sex when you get
Absolutely.
married. Like
Yeah.
that's like, are you crazy? Like
Yeah.
who has sex before marriage? You're so
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
I love these I love these what is it? Dichotomies, I guess, that like it just again, it's like something infused in your show that I think is so amazing where like these characters and this is not this is in the synopsis of the show and things too like this is not my purely my observation or whatever but I didn't create this but like that these characters feel too provocative for one side of their life and then like not provoke or like too modest for another part of their life. And again, like what you're saying that, you might have some groups of people who are like, you're waiting till you're married. That's weird. And then you have other groups of people who are like, you're not waiting till you're married. That's weird. Like you
Yeah.
have, and, and it's surprising to me that nobody's talking about it. Why aren't more
Yeah.
people talking about it?
Yeah, it was, yeah, very awkward, interesting way to kind of like straddling this sphere, straddling that sphere. Like you're just like, who are you depending on the space that you're in at the
Yeah.
time? And are you like rated in this room and you're like not rated in the next room? So like you might be hiding it, hiding this fact when you're with these other friends or anyways, it's all ridiculous. No one's privy to your life anyways. You don't have to tell
Yeah.
anybody anything.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but I don't remember where we were.
That's
I
yeah.
remember.
No, that is surprising. It was just like learning when you've had to kind of like research or talk about virginity. That is surprising. I would
Yeah,
love to like I'm like, "Ooh, study, go deeper, find out why." And it's not a I also don't think it's necessarily like a negative. I feel like hearing that is right away negative that it's like they're the most sexless generation, but I'm also thinking, well, maybe there's more people feeling empowered to make their own choices and maybe that's what they're choosing. Like maybe it's also people are getting married later, so people who are waiting till marriage are so I would love to know why from a neutral stance of why.
yeah. I mean, I find it fascinating as well
Yeah.
that, it's so expensive to live right now. It's
Mm,
expensive to like just be able to provide for yourself as an individual in this world. The young people do not have the same, like being young, a young 27-year-old,
mm,
it is harder to date because you have less economic freedoms and less
mm,
financial freedom than our parents did when they were 27 years old,
mm,
and were able to buy a house and move in with their partner.
mm-hmm.
Um, so there's like a lot of hypotheses on
Yeah.
why we're in this place. Culturally speaking, I just wanted to show for Black women who had agency,
Mm-hmm.
who happened to be virgins.
Mm-hmm.
And just in the same way, so many other shows don't that where sex happens in their shows and or their characters are sexually active. The whole show is not necessarily talking about sex all the time. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same way. Like, why can't we just have a show that happens to have for like non-sexually active leads?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be what the show is entirely about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was my revolutionary idea.
Mhm. I love it. And you accomplished it. It could be a part of them. It doesn't have to be all of nothing is all of a person. Like, come on. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Well, speaking of those characters, I would love to I have just a couple like random questions for you. Kind of like
Okay.
I call them rapid fire. I need to change the name. Why am I calling them rapid fire? You don't have to
Okay.
answer them quickly. Okay. So, the first one is I'm going to give you 4 scenarios, and I would love for you to pick which of your 4 leads you would choose for this scenario.
Okay. It's like
Okay.
choose your fighter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
1,000% it's choose your fighter. Yes. And I
Okay.
have 4 of them, and like, it's up to you whether you decide you don't want to duplicate, or maybe it's going to be Abby for every single one. You can totally choose. It's totally up to you.
Okay.
Okay. So, who of these 4 characters are you going to go skydiving with?
Amina.
Yeah, 100% me too. Okay, great. I
Yeah.
I thought of that one and then I'm like, "Oh, it's not too easy." I feel like Amina. Okay, great. Who are you gonna go to ask for life advice from?
Sarah.
Aw, yeah. Ah, whatever.
She has
Okay.
big girl problems.
Oh, yeah.
So
She's
she
got
should
some
have big girl
wisdom.
answers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hopefully she's learned from those and you can absorb it from that. Who are you trusting to set you up on a blind date?
Ooh. Um, I was gonna say Sarah, but based on her last, like whoever she's dating, um,
Sorry, Sarah.
maybe Magdalena,
Mhm.
maybe. They'll
Okay.
probably be God-fearing, and can't go wrong with that.
There
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. A good filter, like a good I feel like
yeah.
Delina has a good like bullshit meter and also like a filtration system for you in choosing.
The thing about Delina is she's
Mm.
so like unimpressed with the
Mm.
whole notion of like dating. Like she's so uninterested.
Mm.
So to get through that wall and for her to be even in the slightest impressed,
Yeah.
they're probably worth a look.
Totally. It could be very Darwinian, like, only the strong are gonna survive, Delina,
Yes.
so it's like, you're gonna get, like, cream of the crop coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. Okay, my last one for you, and again, it doesn't have to be Abby, but maybe it ends up being that way, I don't know. Um, who are you gonna ask to help you hide a dead body?
Abby is too lazy. She's too cute to be lifting heavy things. So
Yeah.
it will not be Abby.
She'll be on the phone with you, but she's not gonna actually come with you.
Yeah. I think Amina. Amina's down. Like she's down for the cause. There's
Yeah.
nothing she won't do for her friends.
Yeah. I feel like, also Amina would be great in being like, "Hey, I don't agree that you have this dead body, but I'll support you. I'm not gonna shame you for it, but I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
very clear this isn't cool." And, like, that's my favorite kind of friend is, like,
Yeah.
support me, but also tell me when I'm in the wrong. And I feel like Amina's
Yeah.
really great with that.
I mean, episode 2, we already see her ability to keep secrets.
Totally. And
Yeah.
is it episode 2 where, like, very early on, she's like, "Hi, red flags, red flags." Like, she's often the
Yeah.
first one to be like, sorry, not that she is red flags, but she's usually the first one to be like, "Hi, I see a red flag. We need to call this out, red flag," which I love.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I want
Perceptive.
Amina to babysit me. If I need
To
someone to help
babysit.
me get home, I want Amina to take me home. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust all the things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I love that. Your show explores, like, also feeling like a virgin in any area of your life, like whether you feel like a virgin at work or friends, like, what am I doing? I feel inexperienced here, or this is new territory. So what's something that you wish you knew more about? It can be as small as, like, how to scramble eggs, and it can be as big as, like, how to solve world peace. I don't know what the big tried to go big.
um, I'm gonna give a really real answer.
I love it. Thank you.
It's the only one in my mind. It it is that just don't trust your don't conflate your work colleagues for friends.
Oh, I love
I-
that. Okay. Okay. Can
Yeah.
I ask follow up? Or we leave it there. Also, I know it's rapid fire. I'm just like, so that's something that you want to be able to do better, like distinguishing when it's a work colleague or just keeping work at work and home at home.
You I feel like it's sometimes a little bit different in the arts
Mm,
because I don't it just feels like things are bleeding in from one place to the other.
yeah.
And luckily that's not, that piece of advice is comes from a very specific like corporate job that I had straight out of
Mm,
university, and I'm so happy to have it. Um and it,
yep.
it yeah, I didn't have like family members who
Hmm.
had that type of like work experience, working in like a corporate office job, to help me understand the politics of what was
Mm,
going on around me. That I
mm,
could feel that something was off, but at the same time, the what was being presented in my face was very convincing, and I was so
mm,
conflicted because I'm like, I'm feeling a lot of yucky energy.
mm.
Um, but the performance was so like great acting. Just
Yeah.
like 10 out of 10
Watch out,
acting.
season 2. Aiden's
Yeah.
coming in. Fifth character. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I learned a very valuable lesson early in my work, like my working career,
Mm,
that work is work, and not to, be so like naive and, trusting everybody, because I was
mhm,
very, very much like wide-eyed, like young, sweet, excited for this
mm,
job, and yeah.
mhm. Yeah.
I actually had a colleague who felt so bad for me for how bad I was being played that
Mm.
she took me out to lunch and told me all the tea of what was
Aw.
being like organized behind the scenes. And it was being organized by like by people who technically were like her work friends, her friends.
Oh.
But she was also I was the only like visible like woman of color there, so
Mm,
and she's a white passing woman of color, and so she
mm,
just felt really uncomfortable. She's like, as a woman of color, seeing this happening to you is really
mm-hmm,
making me itch on the inside, and I can't
mm.
help but to like try to share this with you, and I hope you can advocate for yourself. And I was like, okay, thank you. So
Oh God. That is
yeah,
so hard to navigate. What do you, that's one of the main reasons that I would never go on a reality show where it's a competition is because I can't handle if somebody is lying to my face about being my friend and they're not. And I just think like, even in those situations, like, how do you know who to trust? How do you know who to actually take at face value?
yeah,
And uh, honestly, I think in my job situations, I tend to like, I almost go the other way, which also I don't think is like, I don't think my way is necessarily healthy and doesn't always, I don't trust anybody. And like, I
yeah,
won't engage with, I'll go to work and I love having the friends at work, but like I know I have a wall up immediately because I have such a hard time trusting people at work thinking I don't even know why. I think it's maybe because it's a friendship made out of convenience, but that could happen in the arts and I feel differently about it. So, but then yeah, people are like, "Oh, you don't want to hang out. You don't want to do this." And it's like, I'm just having a really hard time trusting. I don't know how you choose who to trust and who to not. And then if you make a mistake, it feels like it can end up interfering in your professional life or with your paycheck or it's it's hard waters to navigate. I feel like the best way is get a job, get referred by a friend who you're already friends with. And then when you go
hmm
to the job, you know you already have a real friend there.
that's a good one.
I mean, but
That's a
also
good
that's
one.
like how many people are able to do that? Like that's a very like I don't know how
Yeah.
many people are able to, but that sucks. I'm so sorry you were in that situation and also that that other woman was in that situation because that is so shitty for both of you. And like ew on those people, on all
Yeah.
those people.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and also now look at you out here making a show. Um my I know we didn't even get to talk about this, but you founded a beautiful community-based not-for-profit. Is it art and health or art plus health? I want to make sure I'm saying it right.
You know what? We actually go by both. You can say
Oh,
either or. Yeah.
okay. Art plus health is what I'm going to say for here.
Thank
Where
you.
you offer so many helpful like tips and resources for supporting mental health and wellness. I'm gonna link the Instagram in the description of this episode. It's so wonderful. What's your current kind of favorite way of giving yourself some self-care if you're like feeling down one day?
Aw. Well, you know what? I wasn't feeling so well yesterday. I was
Mm-hmm.
feeling under the weather. Um, and so my voice is kind of off today as well.
Mm,
Uh, but I went out for a walk and I got a new candle. And so I've had that lit all day. And that
mm.
has felt really special. It's like
Yeah.
more,
What does it smell like? What's the scent?
I don't know. I was about to sniff, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
nasally, so I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah. You know what's so like kismet? I love lighting candles as well, but I haven't in a little bit. And behind me, I don't know if you can see, I have a candle there. And today when I was like doing some more research, whenever I had this like, I don't know, I felt drawn like, I want to light this candle and it has some like, I don't know, it has some crystals in it. And I don't
Okay.
even know what they mean, but I'm just excited the idea. And
I
it has like
love that.
oh, it's so fun. And then when you burn the candle down, it's this company where you burn the whole candle down. And then at the end, you get the crystals and you can like keep them, which is
I
so
think that's
fun.
really
So
smart.
yeah, I know. Right. So anyway, I lit that today and now I'm like, well, maybe it's because some kind of telepathy was going on and I knew we were
You,
lighting
you
candles
know, I
together.
would believe that. I would absolutely believe that.
We knew it.
Intuition
Energy.
is intuition. Use your
Yeah.
intuition, even with like, the people you don't know whether you should trust or not. You use your intuition. Because my intuition was telling me like it had such an icky feeling,
Yeah.
but I was trusting what my eyes saw. And
Mm.
that was like a great lesson for me. Like it doesn't matter what you see, it doesn't matter how sweet it sounds, like trust your body. Your body is like is rebuking what's in front of you.
Yes.
So just like trust it.
Yeah. And there's a reason that your body is feeling icky. And unlearning, like I think I was taught not to trust my gut. Trusting my gut, like my gut is an
Yeah.
instinctual thing. And me,
Yep.
like many other people, were taught not to trust their gut. And that is an unlearning I take very seriously. Because it's like, no, 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 no. I don't know when my gut has steered me wrong. So that's,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Look how that just came around with candles randomly. God, you're good. Intuition, 100%.
Yeah.
You got to trust it.
Trust your
There's a
gut.
reason. Yeah.
Please do. And like even as an artist, the way I'm able to distinguish what to work on is from intuition. It's from
Mm,
what my body is telling me. What, I believe I'm very spiritual. I believe in God. I'm Christian, and like I believe that this was intentionally, like the purpose in this being told to me or sent to me or implanted in me. And so intuition, your spirit, your relationship with your maker, however
mm,
distinguish that, is so powerful. And it has not led me astray.
mm,
Anytime I've been led astray, it's been me trying to rationalize a situation and use, my own wits
mm.
to out reason my intuition. And now I realize, like, ugh, I don't need to be smart. I just need to listen. Like,
Oh, I love that. I don't need to be smart. I just need to listen. And
yeah,
listening will make you smarter in the end anyway. You know what I mean? You just gotta,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, the way that I am, that I love to wrap up these episodes is I'm trying to get better at asking for what I want so people don't have to like read my mind.
I love
Um,
this.
and so, yeah, so manifesting, putting it out in the universe, asking what you want, whatever way, it works for you, like whatever way you want to frame it. What is something, it can be professional, it can be personal, whatever you'd like, that maybe someone is listening and the thing you want, they can give to you. So what is something that you would love to put out in the universe, manifest for yourself, say that you'd like to do more of, less of, need help with?
Yeah, this is a great question.
Oh,
One of many you've asked today.
Aiden, like, come on. I'm gonna feel so good this evening. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna email you tomorrow. Be like, I had the best sleep. I woke up feeling amazing. Trusted my gut, bought a
I did
bagel.
a
Like,
workout.
I did a workout. I trusted my gut. I did a workout.
Yeah.
I made a coffee. I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I really enjoyed making the show, and I had a lot of hats on it.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I would love to make a show and really live, or make a show or a film and really live in the creative space more. I'd
Mm.
love to lean into creative producing.
Mm.
I enjoy producing so much. I like making decisions. But I realize, my heart is most lit aflame when they are creative and I get to
Mm.
stay in that place of imagination and play. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I'm looking to do more creative producing work.
Mm. Oh, I love. All right. If you're looking for a creative producer, or if you're looking to come help Aiden and take the non-creative producing stuff off of her plate, reach out. Who knows? Who knows what it will be? Aiden, thank you so much for doing this. I know, like, coming in like blind, not knowing each other at all. I feel so grateful and fortunate that you would come on, and it's been so lovely to connect with you. And I'm a huge fan. I can't wait for season 2 and or whatever you do next.
You are so awesome. Like,
Oh,
you brought all the energy. You were so
oh.
fun. Thank you for making one of my first like interview experiences really fun.
Oh, you're so welcome. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, that fills my heart. That makes me so happy. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Oh. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Liquid Courage podcast. If you liked what you saw and you're looking to support the show, here's a few ways you can help. You can leave the show a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or you can follow the show on Instagram and TikTok at Liquid Courage Podcast. Or, and best of all, you can tell a friend about the show. Tell a family member, tell a coworker, post about your favorite episode online. Spread the word. That really is the best way to help support the show and help it grow. Did I just rhyme? Okay, until the next episode, cheers.